Hey everyone, hope you are well. Yesterday 343 released a teaser trailer for Halo Infinite, officially ending the year-long Halo Infinite news drought. I've seen many Halo YouTubers cover the fact that the Banished will be returning due to what was revealed in the trailer, so I thought instead of doing something similar, I'd make a video on why the Banished will be the perfect replacement for the Covenant in Halo Infinite, in terms of the story and gameplay during the campaign. I'll also be doing a breakdown of the Banished and taking a look at the types of enemies and vehicles they'll offer in Halo Infinite. For those of you who haven't seen the brand new teaser trailer, or just want to watch it again, I'll show it to you guys now. Although if you've watched it many times like myself, feel free to skip to the timestamp appearing on the screen, and without further ado, let's get into it.
Approaches. Forces occupy the ring. Within hours, it will be under our control. Humanity will burn. Their brazen defiance will be all but a memory. No more prophets. No more lies. We stand together, brothers to the end. We are his will. We are his legacy. We are the Banished.
So, after watching that, the Banished will definitely be an enemy in Halo Infinite's campaign, which is absolutely awesome. Just to recap though, the Banished were introduced to us during Halo Wars 2, where they were branded as a splinter faction of the Covenant that rose to power at the conclusion of the Human Covenant War. The Banished are led by a highly intelligent Durahane Warmaster, known as Atriox. Let me just say that this brute is no pushover. Besides resisting his own execution, he was also seen during the start of Halo Wars 2 encountering Red Team, where he quite easily defeated them, injuring Spartan 2 Douglas in the process. After this, Atriox focuses efforts on the UNSC Spirit of Fire, causing all the events from Halo Wars 2 to unfold. Now, the Banished were received extremely positively by the Halo community at the release of Halo Wars 2, as many viewed the Banished as a return to Halo's roots using an original art style, and after seeing how strong and impressive the faction looked, it was clear why people wanted them to return. Their aesthetic is very well liked, especially as it differs from the Covenant's smooth and elegant design that is always purple, seen as the Banished feature a more rugged approach to vehicles and armour, using red war paint on top of metal. The Banished feel completely new, yet still retain elements from classic Halo and the old art style, especially seen as many, if not all its members, came from the Covenant. This means that in Halo Infinite we'll be fighting an enemy that we are somewhat familiar with in terms of gameplay, although all the same, one we've never actually fought. Not sure if that makes much sense, but they will feel completely different to the regular Covenant we are so used to killing, which in my opinion is a huge positive, as it should be said that the Covenant were officially defeated by the Arbiter and the Swords of St. Helios during the Battle of Sinion, October 2558.
Welcome to the last, the day we extinguish the Covenant's light.
So there really is no need for them to return again, which is why the Banished will serve as the perfect replacement for the Covenant going forward. Halo Infinite still has to worry about Cortana and the Created, which unfortunately involves more Prometheans and will most likely add some remaining Covenant to the mix. The Banished on the other hand will never join Cortana, as they strayed away from the Covenant's ideals, not believing the Prophet's false promises of a great journey. But it's even deeper than that. Atriox never once believed in the Great Journey, and thought he was fighting in an unjust war against humanity. And after resisting his execution, he inspired others to join him, ultimately rebelling against the Covenant. Atriox gave birth to the Banished, a group of mercenaries, so there's no way he'd just turn that over to Cortana. I've even got a quote from Atriox himself, which if anything explains why he'd never let anyone else control the Banished or divide them. He says, "I've gathered this crew, and they are loyal, because I am loyal, and because we share a vision. One where the blood we spill and the treasures we plunder are in the name of our own free will and nothing more." I don't really know about you guys, but man, Atriox is bloody sick. I think Halo has really lacked a good villain since the Prophet of Truth and Tartarus. 343 tried with the Didact and then failed with Cortana. So I think Atriox going forward will be one of the main villains seen in Halo, at least for a few years, but hopefully more. Just there's so much potential with him, and imagine down the line he gets confronted by the Master Chief and Arbiter. That would make for a pretty kick-ass time. But hands down, what makes the Banished such a worthy enemy is the fact that they rebelled against the Covenant at the height of their power, so going face to face with the Banished will be very interesting, to say the least, during Halo Infinite. The next thing I want to show you guys is what type of enemies the Banished will offer during Halo Infinite, or more specifically, who will be killing as the Master Chief. First, we have the Brute Warlords. These are the Banished equivalent to the Brute Chieftains from Halo 3, that used gravity hammers, so it can be expected that they would play in a similar fashion. We then have Brute Grenadiers. These brutes can be seen as total savages who are too unstable and crude to advance in the Banished hierarchy. They are equipped with iatrochemically enhanced armor and grenade launchers that can be overcharged by infusion. They will add another challenge during gameplay for sure. They also have brute jumpers, which is essentially brutes with jetpacks, adding another dimension during gameplay due to their added mobility. Again, very similar to Halo 3. The majority of the brute jumpers in the Banished use gravity hammers as their primary weapon. Alongside the brutes, there will be several Sangheli. These roles include Honor Guard, which are the skilled mercenary swordsmen who evoke the traditions of the old Covenant Honor Guard in the service of Shipmaster Let Volir, and ultimately in extension serve Atriox. Now, I'm not too certain that we will actually encounter elite Honor Guards, seeing as they typically accompany Let Volir, who is still on the Ark with Atriox, although elite Rangers and elite Enforcers will most likely be seen in the campaign. Banished Hunter Captains and Hunters should return, but the Hunter Captains could be utilised to make a boss battle of sorts, seeing as they are so tough. And last but not least, we have Grunts. Don't think we could ever have a Halo game without these guys, but that, at the very least, is the type of enemies you can expect to face whilst fighting the Banished in Halo Infinite. Something else that is awesome regarding the Banished is the number of new vehicles they can bring to Halo Infinite. I'm not going to mention the vehicles we already have seen and used before, like the Ghost or Chopper, but I'll mainly be showing you vehicles that could be introduced to us during Halo Infinite, ones we've never used in the mainline Halo games. Starting us off is the Locust. Those that have played through Halo Wars 1 and 2 will understand why we need this vehicle in the mainline Halo games, and for the first time ever, I actually think it will be. How can I define this other than a literal walking tank? It really has a lot of potential for gameplay, as whilst the beam it has is deadly, it could leave the Locust vulnerable to vehicles with faster movement speeds, or players that could target the Locust's legs to weaken and destroy it. As you can tell, I'd be pretty darn happy if the Locust were to appear in Halo Infinite. The Blisterback is a heavy air vehicle used by the Banished that offers two different options for gameplay. One for ground engagements, where it enters a lockdown mode, revealing multiple Annihilator siege missiles that can be used on ground targets. It can exit lockdown mode to become yet again airborne, enabling its use of its medium-range plasma cannons. The Blisterback would be quite an elegant vehicle to use, offering two very different modes for the player. The Marauder is a fast yet bulky vehicle that would play similarly to the Prowler from Halo 3. It's quicker and much more maneuverable when compared to the Wraith, but still more heavily armed than a Ghost or a Chopper. Another great thing about the Marauder is that it's a vehicle that encourages teamwork, which is something you don't see much of these days. There's a few more vehicles from the Banished that may be seen in Infinite, like the Methane Wagon and the Wraith Invader, although I don't know if 343 will bring that many Banished vehicles to the game. I could absolutely be wrong here, considering Halo Infinite is going to be the largest Halo we've ever played, but those previous vehicles I mentioned, in my opinion, have a higher chance of being in the campaign and used for multiplayer. The final Banished vehicle I know everyone wants to see return is the Scarab. Now, the Banished Scarab looks really cool, and it would be a great move by 343 to bring them back, especially considering everyone loved boarding them and destroying them in Halo 3, which were viewed as epic boss fights at the time. So fingers crossed we get to see this beauty in the Halo Infinite campaign. But other than that, that's all the vehicles from the Banished faction that could be seen in Halo Infinite's campaign and multiplayer. I want to quickly go back to the new Halo Infinite teaser trailer, as it should be stated that the brute speaking is not actually Atriox. Now, I think many of you would have noticed that just from listening to the voice, although many Halo fans haven't played Halo Wars 2, especially as it is an RTS or real-time strategy game, rather than one of the mainline FPS Halos. Some people think the brute speaking was actually the Banished elite mercenary known as Let Volir, although after listening to both his voice and the voice from the teaser trailer, I don't think this is the case. I could be wrong, and maybe it is actually the elite shipmaster, although I think it makes more sense for it to be a brute warlord or brute captain, as even in the message the brute says, "We are his will, we are his legacy, We are the Banished. That indicates to us that the brute speaking believes Atriox to be dead, as they would have lost contact with Atriox after his flagship Enduring Conviction was torn in two. So I don't think we'll see Atriox during Halo Infinite story, although he could still appear if he somehow got transported as a Halo. Again, Halo Infinite takes place around 2561, so it's for sure possible, seeing as a lot would have happened after Halo Wars 2. Either way, it's going to be very fascinating to see how 343 implement the Banished into Halo Infinite's campaign. But if the Banished are great in the story and fun to fight during the campaign, then that will truly be amazing, ultimately making the Banished a worthy replacement of the Covenant that hopefully will be seen for years to come. Alrighty guys, that's going to wrap it up for today. Let me know how excited you are for the Banished returning in Halo Infinite. I really think that the Banished will be the perfect enemy replacement for the Covenant that could be seen in many more Halo games in the future. We are so close to the July reveal now, which is super exciting. Anyway fam, thanks so much for watching. Please like the video if you enjoyed and subscribe if you want to support me that little bit extra. Thanks guys, have a good one.